There are two types of people on this planet, my dear nerds. The smart ones that prefer function over form, like this guy, and the less smart ones that should also subscribe, which prefer form over function. You know, the kind of guys that as long as a handheld or a phone or whatever is fancy, they don't care about peasant things like performance or how many software upgrades does it get or how good is it overall. You know, the masses. But we're not talking about the masses here. I'm not part of the masses and neither are you. So we're gonna talk about function over form and about how I found a product, a tablet to be more specific, a beautiful one at that, I'm gonna get to it in a bit, that has so much more to give for the price that it asks for. For around $300, this tablet is arguably one of the most top-end tablets that you can get these days, and it can emulate everything. In case you don't know me, I am Blood Nerd. I usually talk about retro emulation, but I also love a lot of technology like tablets, phones, basically anything new and exciting in the tech world. And a quick disclaimer, my dear nerds, Alldocube actually sent this tablet themselves, but even if they sent it, no money exchanged hands. All thoughts here are, like always, my own, and nobody saw this video beforehand. Not Alldocube, not anyone else. I will show mostly emulation in this video, along with reviewing the tablet itself. But first, let's check out the hardware of this thing. So sit back, park your hiney, and grab a drink, get fat a little by eating some carbs, and let's talk about this beautiful tablet. First of all, I need to take out the plastic screen protector. I need to get glass one because I will actually keep this tablet. This is not one of those things where I make a video on and then discard it in a pile in the dresser drawer. No, this thing will be used day to day in my house. This is an IPS screen, it's not an OLED, and I'm not sure if this gets conveyed on camera, but the quality of this panel is simply outstanding. It has way deeper blacks than I think my camera can show right now, an absolute beast of an SoC. Basically, what you need to know is that this tablet is optimized from its conception for gaming. Like I said, we have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 3, 12 gigs of RAM, which is always very nice, 256 gigabytes of internal storage, and bear in mind you can also add a micro SD card slot to this tablet. That's why I'm particularly excited, because there aren't a lot out there which still allow you to have expandable storage. Repeat after me, expandable storage is king. 8.8 inches on this screen, 2.4K, brightness 500 nits. You just need to know that it's bright enough for you to take it outside and you can still use it. The nits number doesn't matter as much as real world usage. In my humble opinion, you can take it outside and you can use it. Front camera 5 megapixels, rear camera 13. It's a tablet, you know, solely because it's a tablet. Tablet cameras, they should be enough for Zoom calls, WhatsApp calls, whatever the heck social app you use, and that's it. The iPlay 70 Mini Ultra has plenty good cameras for that. Don't expect DSLR pictures or anything, that's not its scope. Type-C, that's USB 3.1. This is important because this means that you can actually plug it into a dock that's connected to the TV and have fun with it. In fact, look at this video right here. I connected it to this controller, and as you can see, you can also play it on the freaking TV. How awesome is this? I'm running Legacy of Kain Defiance, which again I also own, by the way, at around 4x internal resolution. This is actually one of the most difficult parts in Legacy of Kain to emulate without drop frames. and it absolutely cuts through it like freaking butter. Camera person, like, off the record, isn't this fascinating as heck? Like, it's really awesome.
Yeah, I guess.
No, seriously, like, imagine the possibilities here. I could give you a second controller and we could play multiplayer games in double in the future. Like, imagine you'd have to play with me retro games for hours. You know, like, this tablet unlocks this possibility. Aren't you excited by this?
Not really.
No, wait, let me tell you something. And last but not least, it has a 7300 milliamp battery that charges at 20 watts. It runs everything like a dream. And I mean it like a dream. Well, even Switch. We want as much performance as possible for as little money as possible. You should want this because I like to think that you're smart, my dear nerd. Don't spend extra money when you don't need to. Chase the performance dragon as much as you can for as little as you can. Now, coming back to the tablet, let's have a quick look around. We have an 8.8-inch screen, a red power button, because it's a gaming tablet, you know, you need to have your red accent, the volume up and down button, a speaker, USB-C. It also comes with its own freaking power brick. Ha! Did you miss this? Manufacturers actually putting a power brick in. Like, this is, and it's a 20-watt power brick, so that's not really a slouch. A USB-C to USB-C cable. Come on. And of course, key for the micro SD card slot. I'm gonna get to that in a bit. We have two speakers, one here and one on the other side. And here we have the little micro SD card slot, which is always nice. A microphone hole. I assume that's a microphone hole. And that's about it. A nice logo on the back here, and of course the blah 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 legal disclaimers designed by Alldocube and all of that good stuff. What does this actually give you, my dear nerds? Well, the answer is simple, and I wanted to highlight this for a very long time, because this channel is basically a retro emulation channel, but all handhelds are nothing more than tablets or phones with controllers attached. Arguably, I know you will say, Vlad, different aspect ratios. None of that matters. The guts of a Android handheld is literally the same as this. But here, let's call this the baseline, okay? Here, the baseline is the screen and the internal components, and everything is put in a very thin form factor. On top of this base, let's call it a base, we can put any controller that we want. There we go. And now it's basically a tablet. If you're afraid that you might think, oh no, the controller might snap off. Vlad, this is not a tablet. Well, my dear nerds, I've got some news for you. It kinda is. If you're really afraid that this will snap off, just put some double-sided tape where the body of the controller connects with the tablet, and this thing will never pop off. Never ever ever. Just for funsies, just so we take the performance of this tablet as close to the max as possible, let's run God of War, Chains of Olympus at 10x. 10x, by the way, is beyond 4K. 4K is 8x, and 10x is a resolution that I personally cannot even fathom. Locked 60, doesn't sweat, doesn't care. Let me turn down the brightness just a tiny bit because it's blowing up my camera. Works without breaking a sweat. Can you imagine just how much performance we have in the background in order to do this in one of the most demanding games on PSP? Bear in mind, this is beyond overkill, my dear nerds. That's what I wanted to show you here. And it's up to you to imagine the possibilities. Like, if there's this much raw power under the hood, what can we actually do in terms of other use cases? Pretty much anything that comes to our mind. So I'm gonna test Legacy of Kain Defiance, which I have right here, by the way, in case anyone's wondering, at 6x, just for the fun of it, and it runs at a locked 60 FPS with absolutely no stuttering whatsoever, looks and behaves absolutely marvelous. This is the kind of performance, my dear nerds, that makes you, without sugarcoating it, it makes you really get lost in the game and you get immersed. You don't realize how much you end up enjoying it, because it's simply the best quality that you can have when playing PS2. Look at it. Locked 60 FPS, not a single stutter, not a single frame drop. More performance is usually the answer. The more performance you have, the better your experience ends up being. I'm gonna give you some quick gameplay snippet just so you get an idea. I know this first stage by heart by this point. An absolutely beautiful experience. This Alldocube iPlay 70 Mini Ultra also has a gaming mode. Gaming mode, I assume, overclocks or increases the frequency of the SoC even more, but we're not even close to maxing it out, so we don't even need the gaming mode activated. So yeah, food for thought. Think of the possible use cases with so much power under the freaking hood. Here's some Portal 2 locked at 60 FPS in that scene where everything breaks down and the physics of the game has to do a lot and everything works like butter. The emulator thinks it's in docked mode, so there's also increased resolution here, and it works like a freaking charm. Weasley, what are you doing? In case you played this game, like, this is happening because of a tiny football robot that's not exactly the smartest. Comes from the land of the MooOS team, that robot. But I digress. We have a solid locked 60 FPS. Usually I don't overpraise things, but this tablet performs amazingly. I didn't feel any sort of thermal throttling when playing any sort of game. The performance was just fluid and stable across the board. Now, that doesn't mean it's perfect though, because my nerds, there's a few things that some people might be affected by. Namely, there's no headphone jack. Some people might be very disappointed because of this. I personally do not care as much. You know, wireless earbuds can be very low latency these days, and they don't even cost an arm and a leg anymore. Like, they can be super cheap, $30 cheap, and actually pretty good. So I'm not suffering over the lack of a headphone jack, but that's something that some people might want to know. Besides that, it's pretty much one of the best tablets that you can get. And the sound isn't anything special either. Alldocube is proud to have DTS sound, I think they call it. Oh, and this is very important, the screen is actually 144 Hz, meaning that it's buttery smooth and you won't have any of that choppiness when you go around the UI or when you have a lot of moving elements on the screen. Once you experience it, you really cannot go back to 60 Hz, to 60 FPS that a screen has. Just saying, trust me on this, you want those 144 Hz. Alldocube says that the iPlay 70 Mini Ultra has DTS sound, dual speakers, blah blah blah. Now, from my experience, the sound isn't the best, isn't really, how should I say, it won't blow your socks off, but it's doable. It doesn't really have bass, it has good highs and good mids, but no bass at all, so just keep that in mind in case sound is very important for you. Personally, this tablet excels at gaming and being a media consumption device. You can watch me on YouTube on it and you would have a very good experience. This is sort of like a Vlad Nerd inception. You can subscribe to me from this tablet and you will also have a very good experience. And of course, a tablet like the iPlay 70 Mini Ultra should really be paired with a controller like this, like the GameSir G8 Plus. You know, let me just get out of this before I get into trouble. You know, a stretchy controller, which allows you to basically turn it into an actual handheld. Controllers like these basically emancipate your device so that you can use it way better than you could ever hope to use it otherwise. So, my dear nerds, what's my conclusion to this tablet? Well, it's kind of a no-brainer. If the budget is within a spot where you find it affordable, you should really get it. It has a better value than my Lenovo Y700 2023 tablet. It has a bigger battery than that, more than 45% extra performance in Antutu. Now it has a bit of drawbacks, like maybe you want that 3.5mm headphone jack, but overall, to my brain, it's a no-brainer. In fact, a tablet like this can guilt-free replace many Android handhelds that are in the horizon right now. Not to mention that you get a bigger screen. People don't seem to talk about the advantages of emulating on tablets. You get actual good ergonomics, basically the same ergonomics as an Xbox controller. No-brainer. Yeah, the price isn't really super cheap, but it isn't expensive either. So, food for thought, tell me what you think. I love a combination like this more than a dedicated Android tablet, Android handheld, simply because this is a multi-purpose device. I can also use it for streaming. I can also use it for Netflix and relaxation. I can use it for a great many things, whereas an Android handheld sits on a shelf whenever you don't actually play games on it. So yeah, my dear nerds, tell me what you think in the comment section. I am excited to hear what you have to say about this. Personally,